Hey guys, how you doing today? Second day of vacation for me. I've literally been sitting on my ass doing nothing. Can you blame me? Right? We're all getting our asses kicked out there. No one's coming to help us. So, you know, if you get any benefit, any way to get any time off, take it. Take it and do fuck all. That's one of those things that I think about all the time, right? When I'd be talking about the basic income, people would say to me like, "Oh, people just sit on their ass and play video games all day." And I like look at them and I think to myself, so that's the worst thing that you can think about. The worst thing that you can think about in my system is, oh, some people might just sit around and do nothing. In your system, we're all going to die of climate change, right? The oceans are going to acidify. We're going to not have breathable air. Our food is going to dry up. We're not going to be able to feed ourselves. That's your system. My system, oh, some people might enjoy themselves too much. I don't know. You know, there just comes a point where I just go like, I just can't take you fucking seriously anymore. Um, and this is how I feel about, like, for God's sakes, there's so much going on right now. So I'll start with the Alberta government. The Alberta government, the Conservatives under Jason Kenney, basically table legislation to privatize their healthcare system. The idea that this isn't met with just mass protests tells you how far gone the Albertan people are culturally, right? Like, I think that they have actually lost the thread and lost the ability to recognize reality from what is false. Like, they, you can just go down and look at the states. Like, you can see what happens if you privatize your healthcare system, right? We know what happens. It becomes this vulture system that is completely fine with abandoning people. Uh, Healthcare costs skyrocket, care declines. Uh, like the United States, they spend more than anybody on their healthcare system, and the results are bad. Like they're and just the idea that we're oh well oh these guys these politicians who are clearly bought by billionaires, no, they're going to privatize the system to improve it. Like I really do think, like, you have to have kind of a mental illness. Like, there has to be something wrong in your brain to actually say that out loud, to actually believe that someone seeking to privatize your healthcare system is actually interested in helping you. Like, there's no evidence to support this. All of the evidence supports the opposite. And it's really, really, really clear that Jason Kenney and these conservatives are grifters who are just pillaging the public sector in order to sacrifice uh, the vulnerable and the sick and the populace generally to their owners, right? They know that there's money to be made by forcing prices upwards, by creating a system that no longer functions for the benefit of the populace, by withholding treatment unless you bankrupt yourself and your children, right? Like, it's absolutely horrendous what these conservatives are doing. And the idea that they're just gonna, like, what's so strange to me is they still poll relatively well. Like, these people are sociopaths, right? Like, these are the people who we were warned about our entire lives not to trust and not to pay any attention to, and yet here they are, and it just seems like Albertans are like, they're doing such great work. Like, no, they're not. Literally vote for anyone else. Vote for a paper bag. Like, vote for literally anyone else. And like, it's especially these rural Albertan types. These people living in rural Alberta that are still voting for the Conservatives, clutching their Bibles, pretending like they're Christians, voting for people who literally would piss on their Bible for a penny, right? Like, I don't, I strictly do not understand it. Like, I don't understand where your brain has to be to think to yourself, oh, good, my healthcare is going to cost more. The services are going to decline. and everything is going to actually get much worse, better keep voting for that. Like, there's something wrong in your mind if this is the way you're thinking. The other big news that's going on is the on the East Coast. There's the First Nations scuffle, let's call it. Basically, white people are attacking First Nations people all along the East Coast of Canada and the United States. And the reality is that white people don't give a fuck at all. White people don't give a fuck at all. Like the RCMP is just doing what the RCMP has always done, which is turn a blind eye to the white supremacy that definitely exists against the First Nations people. And this kind of flows into what I'm talking about here in Alberta, right? Like, there's something wrong with our culture. Like, our culture is wrong, obviously. Like, every decision that we have made up until this point has clearly been wrong. Right now, we are fighting a climate change battle that we are losing because we just refuse to put down our toys for a little while, right? Like, we can't be without our toys. And what's so funny is that when you actually try to take this conversation seriously, conservatives immediately start talking about, like, oh, well, we need oil to heat our houses. It's like, and then they drive away in these big fucking trucks. Like, conservatives have to be the most evil people. Like, earlier I said that they might be suffering from a mental illness, but I think that insults people who have mental illnesses. Like, I think if you're conservative, you're just an evil person. You're just a bad person, right? Like, and I know you're a bad person because anytime we start having a conversation, instead of attempting to be honest and serious about the conversation, like, for example, here's easy. Like, we could get rid of single-use plastics. We are getting rid of single-use plastics, well, to a small, tiny, itsy bitsy degree. uh but a conservative will be like, oh, you want to shut off the heat? It's like, no, you fucking moron. Like, we're not children, right? We will prioritize things. You're the fucking child in the conversation, driving around in your massive truck, pretending like you actually give a fuck about anyone when you don't. And it's obvious that you don't. You're just some rich cocksucker who was born rich, who doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. Clearly, it's very obvious. And every time a conservative opens their mouth to talk, they just sound like a fucking sociopath. Because most of them are. Right? Just take a look at what's happening to these First Nations people. The conservatives are basically jerking themselves off about this. Right? And it's heartbreaking that we actually even have to have these conversations. It's heartbreaking that we actually have to continuously talk to these absolute fucking nightmare sociopaths. Because it means that our society has a degree to it where it's not capable of learning, right? There's at least 30% of the population that's not capable of learning, and they're not interested in learning. They're not interested in growing up as people. They're not interested in joining any kind of civil society. You know, they want their guns and their big trucks, and they're willing to burn down the whole planet if they can't get it. Like, that's the level of delusional childishness we're talking about here. And that's conservatives. If you're voting conservative, sorry, you're a fucking piece of trash. You're an evil piece of trash. Uh, and I'm going to say that, I say it straight to your face. I'd say it to your face if you had a gun strapped to your back. You're an evil piece of trash. Stop polluting the planet, destroying the ecosystem, while attempting to claim that you have any kind of moral position, right? Be sure to go to church on Sunday. That's the thing that kills me the most about these fucking conservative types. They go to church on Sundays. It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And these churches have just turned into little death cults, right? Like, they're all like a circle jerk about how if you betray your neighbors, God will like you for it. And there's absolutely no self-awareness. There's absolutely, like, I grew up in the Alliance churches, right? These these mega churches, right? Like, these big mega churches, they're the most uh uh, they generate cult behavior, uh and they have this prosperity gospel about them that says like, oh well, if you do good by the church, right, i.e. give us a lot of money, then God will bestow goodness upon you, right? Which is like the opposite of what the Bible actually says. Not that these people read this book, right? Not that they're interested in reading this book. Like, conservatives are largely illiterate. I think the most reading they probably put in is the headline in National Post articles. They don't actually read anything. They don't know anything. They're too stupid to understand anything. And in the end, they just listen to fucking sociopaths and idiots like Jordan Peterson or fucking Kevin O'Leary, right? They're not actually interested in understanding anything, because understanding anything would mean that they would have to do something about it, right? They're happy to just look at all these liberals. Oh, it's so that no, there's nothing serious going on there. Ah, yeah, whatever. I'll just drink my beer and watch my hockey, right? This is where we're at, man. This is where we're at. Like, the fact that the conservatives still poll at even 20%, even like I would be saying this at even 10%. I feel like that's a dangerous sociopathic nightmare 10% of the populace. Those are people who you cannot trust. Like, if I found out that somebody I knew voted conservative, they would be gone from my life. I would not talk to them. They would not be a part of any communication I had with anybody, because I consider them to be a dangerous nightmare sociopath. Like, it's shocking to me. It's shocking to me that this party is still taken seriously. There's not one single issue that they are right on. Not even close. Like, it is the definite, like, I look at them and I think to myself, "Oh shit, like, part of our society is completely inverted in the way it views the world." Like, completely inverted. Everything they believe is wrong. And what's even more shocking is that there's a group of people in the society who are called undecided voters, who sometimes swing to the conservatives. And that to me is like, what kind of mental illness are they suffering from? Where there's this death cult who actively wants to sacrifice your children to perpetual torment and hell, so that billionaires can have numbers go up in their accounts somewhere. And yet, oh, they make a couple of good points, like, veterans' rights, that sort of thing. Like, shut the fuck up. Ugh, shut the fuck up. They're trying to privatize your healthcare. They're trying to sell you into a perpetual serfdom, right? Like, this conservative grift where they're like, oh, you could just quit your job and go somewhere else, right? If you're not happy in your workplace, you just quit your job. Literally 6 billionaires own the society. What the fuck are you talking about? Right? Oh, so you can quit that job and go work for a different sociopath. Oh, okay. Can I not work for a sociopath? Oh no, I have to work for a sociopath. Oh shit. Can I vote the sociopaths out? No? Oh shit. Right? Oh, the sociopaths own everything. Oh, I can't imagine why our society is going to shit and why the planet is boiling itself to death. Ugh. And the unbelievable, unrelenting racism of our society. Like, if what it was happening to the First Nations people was happening to a group of white people, it would be national news. We'd be talking about it constantly. It would be the front page for the whole month of October. We would be talking about it, right? But it's really clear that white people don't give a fuck about this at all. Like, we don't care at all, because there's something wrong with us, right? We built this country off of slavery and genocide, uh, and I still have people tell me that capitalism is the best system in the world. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like this perpetual torture machine that requires human sacrifice and human blood. And there are these absolute goons who have just given their souls up and refuse to even acknowledge, in the most basic sense, what the hell their society is, right? Like, we are a parasitic organism. We are going to suck the blood out of the planet and out of every species we possibly can until there's absolutely nothing left. It just seems to be who we are. You know, maybe you'll find some tiny, small example of a group of humans who attempted to live sustainably and attempted to be symbiotic with their environment, but I don't think that's how humans act. I think that we burn the planet out, and that seems to be by design, right? That we just husk this place and turn it into like Mars. And certainly that's what the conservatives want, obviously what they want, right? It's every action they're taking is to do that. And the liberals are doing absolutely nothing. Like, oh, we'll get rid of straws. Yeah, okay. You'll get rid of straws. Oh, okay. Fucking losers. Fucking losers. One day I'm gonna have to start explaining this shit. My niece and nephew are too young now, but soon they'll get to that point, and I'm not going to hold back. Conservatives are sociopaths. They sold us into slavery for money. This is the story that I will tell them. And I will tell everyone else who listens. We are being sold out every single day. Like, every single day you go to work, you go to a place you barely tolerate to do a job that is pointless, that serves no purpose whatsoever. And the people who are doing the work that matter keep voting for the sociopaths. Oh, Jesus Christ. We've been abandoned by God. For sure. We've been abandoned. Because we refuse to even begin to ask for help. I do ask God for help. My pitch is simply this. Humans are irredeemable. We should be wiped out. We deserve it, without a doubt. We've proven that over and over and over again. But from God's perspective, we must be very interesting. And wiping us out would be boring. It would be more interesting to keep it going. And that's the only real pitch I have for humanity. It's more interesting to keep us alive. We are interesting. We're immoral, rapacious sociopaths who destroy everything we touch, and don't seem capable of the self-reflection necessary to prevent us from continuing to do that. Our universities churn out arrogant idiots who believe that our white supremacy, genocide, and slavery is the greatest thing we've ever done. So, well, that's the end of me then. Another 20 minutes of just screaming into the ether. Good luck out there. Ah, man. I hope that something changes soon. I truly, truly do. Yeah. Good luck.